Hi, Shannon. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited for our talk together. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Everything's good. So, just to kind of start it off, I'd just like to ask you to briefly introduce yourself.
So I'm Shannon. I'm 24 years old, and I'll soon be a trainee educational mental health practitioner. That's a mouthful.
Nice. Wow. All right. Tell me a bit more about that. So, what is that exactly?
So it's basically kind of helping children and young people with like mental health difficulties, and they might also have disabilities as well. So I'm kind of really looking forward to working with them because I feel like I have a lot to give, and I feel like I'm quite relatable and I can kind of understand where they're coming from. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, awesome. Wow. So, the best of luck in that for sure. And is this part of
Thanks.
your bachelor degree or is this going to be like your master's?
It will be equivalent to a master's. So yeah, you'll be like training. So you'll be like at university 2 days a week and then working with children and young people 3 days a week. So it's kind of like what we call an apprenticeship, but I get to go to university again.
Nice, awesome. Well, the best of luck in
Hmm.
that. I'm sure, when you do something that you love, you definitely like succeed in it because you put so much hard work into it and you're just passionate about it. So that's great. So the best of luck in that. So I'll kind of head into dyslexia a bit more. So you're dyslexic. So tell me, when did you find out about your dyslexia? What level of dyslexia do you have?
So I actually found out kind of pretty late. So I found out when I was about 21. Um, I was in my first year at university, and I kind of felt like I wasn't keeping up with the workload. And I was stuck at, sorry, I stutter sometimes. I was studying psychology and I was learning about dyslexia, and I thought, that kind of sounds like me. Um, but I didn't want to kind of self-diagnose myself and kind of be like, oh, I have this or this. Um, and also, because psychology, there's a lot of reading. So I was also struggling with the reading aspect. So I started to notice that, I was getting headaches from reading. I wasn't able to read much on the pages. And so I kind of started to avoid it. Um, and that's when that was like one of the massive warning signs for me that I needed to go and get help. Because I thought if I'm not reading this stuff and that's like a big part of my course and I'm not going to succeed. Um, so it was me who kind of went to the disability department to kind of get screened for dyslexia. Um, and I kind of thought they would probably turn around and say, oh, you don't have dyslexia, like you're fine. Um, but I kind of knew deep down that something wasn't right. And I kind of went through school kind of knowing that something wasn't right, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah.
And so I had this assessment with an educational psychologist. And the minute we stopped, she was like, you have dyslexia. Like, it's pretty clear that you have dyslexia. And I thought, what? Are you sure? Like, are you talking about me? And yeah, she kind of gave me a rundown on like what my weaknesses were. She actually congratulated me on getting so far without having support.
Yeah.
Um, mhm, because a thing I'll touch on later is throughout school I wasn't fully supported, um, and it was quite a struggle to get to university on my own. So hearing that for the first time in my life, I was like a bit taken aback. I was like, what? Like, is that me you're talking about? Um, so yeah, that's kind of the long-winded version of how I got diagnosed. My dyslexia, I think it's quite mild, although I do have something else that's called visual stress. So that kind of makes it harder for me to read certain things, and that's why I get headaches when I do read. Um, and I think I was reading my dyslexia report yesterday because I kind of wanted to see like what they had said. Sometimes I like to go back and check. Um, and so it said on there that I've got what's considered classic form of dyslexia. Um, Obviously not everyone has, the classic signs. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting to kind of see and look back on, really.
Wow, okay. I mean, in terms of classic form of dyslexia, they're like everyone, even all dyslexics, they're all different. So every dyslexic person has a different, strength, weakness. So definitely maybe something that you're good at doing, another dyslexic will not be too good at doing. They're all different. But it's incredible that you did make it that far into uni without knowing, because most people I speak to who like are dyslexic or are kind of aware of their dyslexia later on, they always feel like there's something not right during school. They always have that feeling like, why do I feel different? Why am I not like getting this information just as fast as my like classmates do? So honestly, well done for getting to uni. Like, of course, everyone can get into uni, but I also read that you're the first person in your family to get in, right?
Yeah, I am, yes.
That's incredible, honestly. Like, well done, really. But so in school, we are gonna kind of talk about this a bit. So you didn't know about your dyslexia, and usually for people who are aware of their dyslexia, they do get some accommodations, like extra time in exams, or maybe having exams in like a separate room from the exam room. So what was school like for you then? Because you weren't aware of dyslexia and that you have it. So how did you kind of go through your high school?
Um, well, first I'll say it was incredibly difficult. Um, I kind of was always behind my peers. Um, I was always kind of put in the bottom set. Um, and it felt like, no matter how hard I tried at something, um, I might not always come out with the best grade, or I'd be a couple of marks off the grade I wanted. And it was always quite frustrating for me, um, because teachers would tell me, oh, if you only tried harder, or maybe you need to just try a bit harder, or you're lazy. And I would just be there like, you don't see how many hours I'm like taking out of school to study. And I think my mum even tried to get me extra tuition to try and help me pick up my grades. um so yeah, it was like quite difficult with no support. um but I did see that I did quite thrive in creative subjects. So for my GCSEs, I took music and dance, and I loved those subjects. Like they might have not been the most practical, but to me, they were something that I really enjoyed. Um, and they're the subjects that I thrived in, because it was quite like a practical based thing where you didn't have to sit an exam, you could do coursework, and it was pretty straightforward. So I feel like those kind of got me through school. Um, and I mean, I'm not gonna like slate my teachers and say that they were all bad. There were a few of them that did support me, and you know, I feel like some of them kind of understood that I was trying and kind of felt disappointed for me. Um, so yeah, some teachers were supportive, but some, I mean, who knows? But yeah, it was up to them at the end of the day. But at least I know why I was struggling in school.
Did you feel like a sense of relief that you knew? Did you kind of finally like understand why it was such a struggle?
Yeah. Um, it kind of felt like, kind of like a light bulb moment where you don't understand something and then suddenly it all kind of makes sense. And yeah, it was a big relief because I was always putting myself down, and I was always saying to myself, oh, Shannon, I was even saying to myself, you need to try harder. You're lazy. You're not doing enough. Like, keep pushing yourself and pushing yourself, but there's only so much you can do before you burn out or you make yourself really ill. Um, so yeah, I think when I found out I had dyslexia, I thought, okay, I've got it. So how am I going to support myself? Who am I going to go to kind of help me thrive um, and like do what I want to do?
Wow. Well, you're definitely not lazy. Because I mean, this is something I think everyone has heard. If you're not doing good in school, it means you're either lazy or you're just not smart enough or you're not trying hard enough. So this is something, it's like an idea that people just really need to stop having, because I personally believe that with the right method of studying, that's when you're really going to succeed. You just need to find what works for you personally. So definitely ignore all of them, and you proved them wrong as well, because look at you, you're in uni, you graduated, and you know you have a lot going for yourself now, so that's great. You've proven everyone wrong. So in school you said a few teachers were supportive, and were any of them kind of thinking, or did anyone maybe tell you you might have a learning difficulty?
um, I mean, you kind of think that they would kind of pick up and say something, but no one actually said, "Oh, do you think that you should get tested?" or perhaps you should do this. I think the only thing that a teacher ever did to help me was kind of give me extra support after class. Um, and yeah, even my teachers, when I would fail some of my exams, they would be like, "What is going on? Like,
Yeah.
we clearly know that you know this stuff, but it's obviously something's happening." So yeah, there was no questions as to you probably do have a learning disability. Yeah, and that's kind of one thing that I question about schools, is that I don't think that a lot's done on training teachers to pick up on learning disabilities or, um, you know, mental health difficulties. And I think that's something that should be put in the training for teachers, so that like this doesn't happen, or there won't be another me that finds out even later in life. um yeah.
100%. I fully agree. There needs to be more awareness out there. Teachers need to be trained to know if a child has a learning difficulty, or if it's just they're having some other type of like issues or struggle in school. So I'm with you 100%. And this is something I can relate to in all the countries, because I've spoken to so many people who live in different places in the world, and they all have the same issue, that their teachers just don't understand what dyslexia is or what learning difficulties are. And we definitely need to work on that more, for sure.
Mhm.
Wow, okay. I mean, if you were given, okay, so you did get extra support at one point from one of your teachers after school. Do you think it helped? Would you have really appreciated maybe getting more support throughout the years?
um yeah, I just wish that the support had come a lot sooner, because I was only given this support, I think it was a week before my maths exam. And I kind of thought that was a bit late, considering that they knew I was struggling kind of beforehand. And one thing I didn't mention is that my mom would actually ring up the school and saying, "Shannon, like my daughter Shannon's struggling. Can she have extra support? Can you move her to a different class?" Blah blah blah. And they kind of, their excuse would be like, "Oh, there's too many people in that class. We have too many people that we." So I kind of felt like I was being ignored. Um, and then because I was quite a shy person anyway, I would go back into my shell and be like, "Okay, I'll just kind of try and deal with this myself." And um, so yeah, apart from that support from one teacher, I didn't get any other support throughout my time at school, which is, it's really sad. And I know that it's happened to a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely support at school from your teachers, or just from a learning department in school, it's so important. It really does make the biggest difference, like in your education and in your schoolwork. Wow. Who would you say was your biggest supporter through everything?
The biggest supporter was my mum. Um, she was always there, so like she would tell me to keep going, or if I was coming home and I was really upset from school and I said, Mom, I'm gonna fail my exams, I don't want to go to school anymore, she'd be like, no, Shannon, you're going to school, it doesn't matter what grade you get, don't worry, because when you come out of those GCSEs, and if you're not happy with them, we will go somewhere else and you will retake them. Um, and she was kind of the voice that I needed, because I think when I left school, I wasn't really in the right headspace. I think I'd been so defeated by the lack of support that I just thought, maybe I shouldn't do anything with my life. And that's like, it's really sad to think that I was in that position. Um, and I think, yeah, so she was kind of like the voice of reason in my head to tell me to keep going. And I'm really thankful for that, because if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. Like honestly, it's so important to have a support system, whether it's your friends, a family member. It really does make the biggest difference, because there are times, like you said, you just kind of feel demotivated and you just feel like you want to give up. But then you just remember how far you've gone, how much you've already achieved. So you just need that one person to kind of tell you, keep going, you're on the right track. So that's really good. I'm so glad you didn't give up. I'm so glad you kept going, you graduated, and now you're doing amazing things. And you're still working on yourself, you're still working on getting degrees and certificates, and it's incredible. So I'm going to talk a bit about your Instagram page. It's called Unraveling Felicity. So you have an Etsy page as well, a shop, and you sell stickers and prints, and I'm gonna link it down below here for everyone to see. It is incredible. And your page is a lot, like I see a lot about mental health, which is great, and a bit about dyslexia as well. So I just want you to kind of tell me a bit more about your page, starting off maybe with the name. Where did Unraveling Felicity come from?
um so I was kind of thinking about making an Instagram account for a while, but I obviously didn't have time to. I was really busy, and then the pandemic happened. So I thought, oh, now is this like perfect time to start an Instagram account. And I was kind of looking at like all of these children off school, and I was thinking, well, obviously their mental health isn't going to be as great as it should be, because they like going out with their friends, like socializing. Sometimes school is just like for them to socialize and like see their friends. And I thought maybe I can kind of make this account to kind of show them, maybe coping strategies on how to help their mental health, what they can do, um, that sort of thing. Um, and I thought, what's a kind of unique name that will kind of get people to click on the page? Because when you see my name, you don't necessarily think, oh, psychology student I was at the time, mental health, like hidden disabilities. So I thought that would kind of entice people in and kind of question, what's this about? So some people kind of mistake Felicity for my name.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll get messages that say, hi, Felicity. But Felicity actually means happiness.
Okay.
So I thought that I would call my page Unraveling Happiness. So I kind of want people to, go onto my page and kind of get a little bit of happiness or hope. And I kind of like using certain words that have various different meanings, because I'm quite a creative person. And another thing that you might not know about me is I write songs and poems.
Oh.
So I'm quite literary. That's the word I'm looking for. I got it right. So I thought, what's a username that can kind of incorporate a part of me as well. So yeah, that's where
Wow.
the username came from.
Hey, do you sing as well? You write songs. Do you do some singing?
Yeah,
Oh,
I do sing as well. Yeah.
okay, incredible. I'd love to hear that sometime for sure.
Mhm.
Great. Okay. See, that makes sense because I didn't know Felicity meant happiness. At first, I thought that was your name as well. But
Yeah.
then when I kind of did a bit more research on your account, I was like, oh, her name is Shannon. That it says right there. Hey, wow. But that's a very unique name. I would have never thought of that. It's great.
Mhm.
Okay. Wow. How about your Etsy page? So there's a lot of artsy stuff on there. So are you also an artist?
Um, yeah, we could call me an artist. I started, well, I've always kind of drawn like cartoons when I was younger. And when I had finished my exams at university, I thought, I can, maybe I should give this drawing thing a go.
Yeah,
I thought, maybe if I was to create like stickers or like little prints that people could buy, um, you know, this could be like their little reminder
mhm,
and, kind of keep them going.
yeah,
So yeah, I started drawing all these things, kind of talked to my boyfriend and was like, what do you think of this? Kind of showed my friends and was like, is this something you'd be interested in buying? They got a lot of free samples out of me because I was kind of testing different things. And yeah, I kind of wanted this as like a little side business um, to kind of link with my Instagram page. So perhaps if there was like something someone saw on there that they quite liked,
mhm.
um, you know, I would kind of note that down and be like, I can make a sticker out of this, or kind of look out there of, what's popular right now and maybe make something like that.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, my Etsy business, it's still kind of brand new at the moment, but I'm hoping that, it picks up a little bit and people enjoy it as much as they do with my Instagram.
For sure. I'm positive they will. There's a lot of great stuff on there. And wow, you're so creative. You're writing songs, poems, you sing, you do some drawing as well, and dance. I take it from school because you took dance. That's
Yes.
that's amazing. Just keep it going, honestly. Just keep pursuing your dreams and the things you like, because that's what life is all about. But wow, that is really incredible. So where do you hope to go with your page? Like, what is the ultimate goal?
Um, well, I hope that, I kind of continue to make content that people enjoy. Um, and, you know, I also hope to kind of make more dyslexia content because that's one thing that I feel like my page is kind of lacking. Um, I've been so kind of caught up on like making sure that I have all this mental health stuff that I kind of also have lost what it's all about as well, like with dyslexia, because I've seen like pages like yours and other dyslexia pages that are doing so much. And I always see comments and people are like, wow, like this is me, like I can't believe that someone else feels like this, or um, yeah, I hate it when people say this, and oh my gosh, I get that all the time. Um, so I feel like there's kind of another community that could be joined together because sometimes I feel like mental health and dyslexia kind of can be linked together.
You
Um,
definitely are, yeah, because
yeah.
dyslexia, it affects you mentally and emotionally and
Mhm.
also physically, with writing and reading. They're all linked. I personally know I had a lot of struggles when I was in school. It really did affect me mentally, and it wasn't always in the best way. So
Mhm.
it's definitely linked, and I think it's a great idea for you to put all of that in one page. It's gonna give people access to be able to find everything in one account. Mental health, dyslexia, and as well your creative side, which is great. But yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think yeah, that's you pretty much summed it up. um, yeah, I just think it's really important, and also that people kind of feel confident um, talking about dyslexia because the more you talk about it, the more people will kind of come to understand, maybe what you're going through or what dyslexia is, because there's like all these stigmas out there of what certain things are, and I think it's because people don't understand. So like taking these small steps to talk about these things, even if it's like one person finally understanding, that's one person, you've made a start. So it's kind of like a domino effect where like one person understands, then they go tell someone else, then they tell this person and this person and this person, and yeah, it's just small steps.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you start small and then, you grow, and it's just amazing how many people you don't realize this, but you're actually reaching out to a lot of people, and every day they're learning something new because of your account. So it's really, I think it's a blessing. Like, I'm personally so grateful that I started this, because now I know that all my close friends and family, they all finally understand what dyslexia is. Before I did this page, a lot of people who were in my life had no idea what it was. They didn't even know I had it or have it. So it's definitely good to have a page to, share your thoughts, all these interesting facts and all this important information about mental health and dyslexia, for sure. Wow, incredible. I mean, I'm so happy we had this talk, and I think it's so good for people to, know more, just understand that there's a link between everything, really. And I want you maybe to leave us with some advice for other younger students or for adults with dyslexia as well. Like, what is one thing maybe you wish someone would have told you, like one thing you would like people to know?
I think most importantly is like never hide away from your dyslexia, kind of be proud of it. Always tell people, whether that's like friends or your employers, because they aren't mind readers. They don't know that you have dyslexia. Even if you don't think that you'll need support, you might need support like in the future, um, because then they can help you, then they can support you. um, and I think the one thing that made me more open about talking about dyslexia is I didn't really know the stigma that came along with it until I got diagnosed. So I was constantly telling people, I have dyslexia, I have dyslexia, I have dyslexia, not knowing what was happening. Um, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't know about it before, because I'm still pretty open about it. I'm like, I don't care if there's a stigma, I'm going to tell you. And if you don't like it, well, at least I know, you know? Um, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, always continue, like, don't worry about the stigma. I know it's like easier said than done, but you know, say you were like applying to a job, and you told the employer that you had dyslexia and they reacted badly, maybe that's not the right job for you. At least you knew before you got the job, um, so that you could go somewhere else. So yeah, like you said, dyslexia is a blessing, and I'm kind of glad that I do have it, because it got me to where I am now. It's got me passionate about helping other people with dyslexia, and possibly in the future being an educational psychologist who assesses people and like helps people um, with their dyslexia. So yeah, never hide away from your dyslexia.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, what a great way to end our talk, honestly. It is a blessing. It gives you so many strengths, and it makes you such a unique individual from everyone else, because it's all about your mind. Your mind, it works differently, and you're special in a different way. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Shannon. I really, really enjoyed our talk today. And, it's great to see that other people really accept their dyslexia and they're so open about it. And this is really what we're trying to do here. We're trying to raise awareness so people know about their dyslexia and they feel like they can share it with others. So thank you so much for doing that. I really, really appreciate that.
No, that's okay. And thank you for having me. Like, you're such a lovely person, and it's kind of nice to talk to someone so like-minded. and I hope that like your viewers enjoy this, and yeah, be more open about their dyslexia as well.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. Honestly, it was great meeting you, and I'm sure we're gonna do more things in the future.
I hope so.
All right, bye.
Bye.